Okay, so part one got cut off because memory on the phone is limited. So this will be part two. So I was starting to say that this YouTube channel and Facebook, Vet Titan stuff, it's all a social experiment for me. See, while I was socially awkward in grade school and middle school, finally in high school, I mean, I was always smart and I overthought things, and I was trying to, I didn't understand what the problems were because my family all had the problems, no matter who I looked to in my family. And so late in high school, things started going my way. And I kind of was like Ferris Bueller in a sense, where it's like I wasn't that cool of a kid by any means leading up to junior and senior year. But sophomore and junior year, I started hanging out with upperclassmen because I already had a kind of a flawed relationship with most of the kids my age, to where it was like, at least I thought I did, but it was just kind of in my imagination. But sophomore and junior year, I was hanging out with upperclassmen. So in senior year, the upperclassmen all graduated. So now it's like, now what do I do? And by that point, I'd already figured out that I could outrun the cops. My stepdad, he used to basically tell me that I was too much of a goody-good, and that I would never be part of the family because I was such a goody-good, and that nobody trusts me, blah, blah, blah. He was always trying to get me off balance so he could throw me under the bus with my great-grandma. And I kind of knew that, but I didn't understand that that's really all that there was to it. And I guess I just didn't have the guts to confront him about him and call him out. Because if you called him out logically about things, he could throw you through a wall. But if you yelled and screamed, he wouldn't throw you through the wall, per se. He would tolerate that. But when you would hit him with hard facts, he hated that worse. So it's like I was in a weird way conditioned to be outspoken instead of be concise with my words, because whenever I was concise with my words, it would cost me. So at least with him anyway. Junior and senior year, I really had some events occur. By now, you've probably seen the video where I quote unquote borrowed a police car because the police dared me that if I didn't have Corvettes, I couldn't outrun them in the police chases. So we borrowed a cop car and outran them in that. But prior to the cop car night, I also saved a really big party where all the kids were actually able to escape the house, because I literally got in a foot race out of the back door with the cops who had the house surrounded. I had everybody in the basement on teams with a minivan. So there was like 4 teams of people to get in 4 different minivans with the 4 most sober people. There were varsity basketball and varsity baseball players in that party. It was wintertime. Our basketball team went to like the finals, and our baseball team won Division A baseball states. So had I not saved that party, neither of those 2 events would have likely occurred, because the policy was if you're caught drinking, which I was always sober, but the other star athletes were all at this party, if you're caught drinking, then you're suspended from sports. So lots of varsity players from basketball and baseball were at this party. So I was always a problem solver. I was very good at solving problems, thinking I have a big imagination. So I was so confident that I could outrun the cops that I divided everybody up into 4 different teams. And then I called some other friends of mine who were older, and to distract the police in another way with basically a 911 call of some sort of a place getting robbed. So between me running out the back door to my Camaro and getting in a cop chase, and the police all leaving, when I made a phone call to these friends of mine, everybody was able to escape the party, and the neighbors are the ones who called the cops, because it was still daylight when the cops showed up. There was some sophomore girl or freshman girl who was like, hey, my parents are out of town, why doesn't everybody come to our house? And I'm like, oh, it was going to be a shit show. So I go over there, and at the time I was probably barely invited. But once I saved that party and everybody got away scot-free, there were literally coaches, like baseball coaches, basketball coaches, like stopping me in the hallway saying like, I heard what happened and all I can say is thank you. I'm just like, okay. So I became like a god in high school because I was always a good kid. The teachers liked me. I was in all the AP classes. I was smart, but I wasn't the kind of, holy shit. Dead stopped on the exit ramp. And you know I don't go slow on exit ramps. I never did homework because I never had time for homework because my parents would make my life hell when I get home from school. It's a long story, but I just was never a homework person. Elon Musk had the same problem. When his dad describes him, and just fast forward, and I know this sounds arrogant, but long before Elon Musk was anybody, back when everybody was saying he's going to go bankrupt and he's never going to be anything and Tesla's a joke and all this other stuff, I said he will be the world's richest man one day. And everybody's like, we are crazy. You know how rich Bill Gates is? Do you know how rich Jeff Bezos is? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you watch, he'll be the richest. And I guess there is some arrogance to that because I see myself inside of some of the things that he does, but I'm also different than him. I feel like I'm also different than him because I am not in a hurry to be the richest on the planet. Obviously, I'm not even currently trying, but I'm kind of like a bamboo seed where it's like I've been developing something for a very long time, and then I know that one day I can shoot up very quickly with the royalties on this thing that I've invented. And so one of my big paradoxes is how and why am I the inventor of this thing? Because I almost feel like it was a gift. I mean, I really feel like it was a gift. I can't explain to you how I was just like talking to my website guy about things when we were working on this other website, which is a rinky-dink thing compared to what we have now. And I was just talking to him and I was like, I wonder if we could reinvent the way that the auction process works and the way that Amazon works and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, and it was just like it was already there. It's like I was born with it. It's really weird. And then when you fast forward to these silly prophecies about the Antichrist and the symbol is going to be 666 and my initials are lowercase BBB because uppercase BBB is Better Business Bureau, and I have been using lowercase BBB since the time I was 13. It really just stopped me in my tracks because I was like, this is crazy. Like, what the fuck's going on right now? And I don't want to be a bad guy. You know, if what I'm about to do is bad, then I won't do it. So I've exerted tremendous self-discipline. I've let the last 15, 20 years get by without releasing this whole thing that I have, without releasing any of it. And the craziest part is nobody's even invented part of it yet. Not Google, not eBay, not Amazon, not Manheim Auto Auctions. Nobody's figured it out. And I really just kind of feel like I'm like in a video game. I feel like I'm in like a game to pass the time. That's like the most logical explanation that I can come to. Because it's just like, I don't understand how you guys aren't able to see through things like 9/11. I don't understand how you guys aren't able to see when people are lying. That's the thing I've always been gifted with. I can always detect a lie. And I'm not talking about because the person looks this way or twitches their nose or whatever. I'm talking about everybody has like certain motives, right? And I listen to what those motives are. You know, I listen to what people say and they say what they think and blah, blah, blah. So then when I watch them behave, if I see them do something that doesn't make sense, I'll ask them, I'm like, well, why'd you do that? If you wanted this outcome, why'd you do that? And a lot of times people take offense to that because they realize that they're just stupid. And in that case, they're not liars, they're just stupid, right? Because they didn't think of the best way to go about what it was that they're trying to achieve. Kind of like the GM marketing team in Harlan, whose goal is to sell lots of cars, but instead they're trying to put on a Grand Sport Surprise as a higher priority than sell cars. But I've always been good at detecting little nuanced situations when people behave a little weird or whatever it is, and I can sum those up very quickly, and my mind's like a Sudoku puzzle. I can crunch a bunch of different possibilities in a very short amount of time, and I can come up with, aha, they're either up to this or they're up to this. And then I'm good at fishing for information from people. Like, as a matter of fact, like, I was already on the inside and already in the know to figure out what the actual answer is. General Motors. But anyway, so this is all just child's play for me, this whole Grand Sport BS. But just as hard as it is for me to explain the way that a rear diff can get you killed when it malfunctions to people who are not mechanically inclined, it's also difficult for me to explain the importance behind my website, as well as the negative trade-offs that I've taken the time to think about, because I'm like, why would this be bad to release this? Everybody's complaining about inflation and that the printing press is printing all this money. Why would it be bad to solve that? Everybody wants fresh water. Why would it be bad to figure out a cheap, easy way to desalinate salt water, which is gutters and sunshine? Hint, hint. Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? And I started to realize that we're in a matrix, basically. The movie The Matrix is an analogy. We're in a padded room, so to speak. There are certain things that are kept off limits, because this is not intelligent life's first rodeo. And once you understand that we can destroy each other if we get our hands on certain technology, that certain technology has to be kept in a lockbox so that the masses don't have it. And that lockbox is not just a safe. That lockbox involves social, societal manipulation. Okay, and I've figured all this out on my own, and I've never been sworn to secrecy. And normally people have to swear to secrecy to figure out the truth. I was able to figure out the truth without swearing to secrecy. It makes me very dangerous in certain people's eyes. But I've earned those people's trust because I don't run around talking about this shit publicly or anything. And while I'm explaining you a very vague overview, I'm not getting into details about it. But originally, when we're all after whatever it is that we're starving for, whatever the most deprived of, we're starving for it. So like me, I grew up, like I said, like on a water polo team, so to speak, where everybody's trying to drown you. They don't want to teach you how to swim. And the only way that you think the proper way to swim is to try to dunk each other. And so to actually just learn how to stand up on your own and not dunk each other, how to swim on your own and not dunk other people, is a challenge to take on later in life. But, I did it as I grew up. But when I see other people who are all about dunking other people and out for themselves, I can spot them a mile away. Like, for instance, Justin, a horsepower obsessed. What skin is it off his back if I say there's an e-diff glitch and there's a fuel pump problem and that there's another car after this front pass-through car, that there's another car that they're probably saving the ZR1 name for, and that there's going to be a Grand Sport, and that this turbo car might even be the body of the Grand Sport, okay? If General Motors was wise, that would have been the body of the Grand Sport. I'll tell you that much right now, General Motors. If you don't put a better body on the Grand Sport and you just do a plain Jane car on the Grand Sport, plain Jane body on the Grand Sport, you guys deserve to go bankrupt. You guys are stupid. You should follow through with doing the better Grand Sport, but you shouldn't have called it a ZR1 2 years in advance, 3 years in advance. Do you understand? I'm not trying to get you not to build the Grand Sport. I'm trying to help you guys understand how bad you suck at fucking marketing. It's like you're fucking up your current car sales. But anyway, okay, So if you try to say the system is flawed and here's why the system allows certain elites to game the rest of you and enslave the rest of you in ways that you're not even smart enough to understand until I explain it, the elites call you Hitler. Or they'll go a step further and call you the Antichrist. And you say, well, why on earth do you have that point of view, Brandon? Well, what you guys don't understand is, and I'm not trying to say that the Nazi Party was good. I'm just simply saying Hitler wanted to bomb Paris, England, and New York. Do you guys know why Hitler wanted to bomb Paris, England, and New York? Because Hitler believed that the wars that he had served in at a younger age were instigated by the quote-unquote people on Wall Street, the financiers of the world. He understood that. I got to be careful what I say in these videos because YouTube is so freaky about what you say and they'll twist it, and I'm not. All I can say is, when you look at what culture of people are often hired to take care of finances and banking, okay? Our society has been, and Hitler fell for it, unfortunately, of being told that all of those people are the problem, when it's not all of them, okay? You following what I'm saying? But they are exclusive oftentimes, that they'll only hire their own kind, if that makes sense. So Hitler fell for the trap, unfortunately. And so now anybody who wants to try to expose the cloaked slavery is called the next Hitler. That's why they call Donald Trump the next Hitler. That's why they called, by the way, Donald Trump is on the elites team now. I don't know if you guys can understand that or not. He was in the beginning as well. They're very good at putting you in a very compromising situation where you have to compromise, or else really bad things start happening in your life. So at the end of the day, they win. They're the puppet masters. So as I realized I was going to be going head to head with these guys if I was to explain certain things, I decided, fuck it, I'm checking out. I don't want to be the bad guy on the 6 o'clock news. I'm going to go kite surf. So I learned how to kite surf and started hanging out with just normal, nice people. People I went to high school with were normal, nice people. And even before I started kite surfing, I was lucky that I started hanging out with some really gorgeous girls who really had great personalities, and we used to run the town together. And one of them I was dating, the other one I wasn't. But we would all just hang out as a group of 3 total, and we had a really good time because people just liked us, and we could just go anywhere and do anything, and it was nice. So when you have 2 really gorgeous girls with you that are badasses, that are very intelligent, guys just fold. It's just, you can just do whatever you want. Whether it's policemen or whatever it is. The policemen give you rides out of the football game instead of tell you you're not allowed to cross the sidewalk or across the street. They're like, we'll give you a ride. So it's just, and I understood that because I had a pretty mom and I saw what she was able to get away with. And so it's just, I guess that was just subliminally in my psyche to know. So anyway, where was I going with all this? So one of the things that I was thinking about doing early on was just telling people the truth about a bunch of certain things. And then when people say, "Nuh-uh, you're not a super physicist, Brandon," it's like, okay, get the super physicists out here. Have the super physicists explain this. Have the super physicists explain this. Why can't the super physicists explain what gravity is? Why are the super physicists so confused by the speed of light and relativity? And the really smart people, once you tell them the truth, and I believe that I do have the truth, they get it. And then all the other people, like the masses, my eyes were opened as I was on my adventures that there's these people in high places that are happy to treat the masses like shit, because they basically say that you guys are shit because you failed to get above a bar, which would have required some intelligence to prove that you were above the bar. And so it's all like a test. It's all like a real life game, so to speak. Like a big GTA, Grand Theft Auto, if you will. You're running around this world and you're trying to show what you're capable of doing and not capable of doing, kind of thing. And capable of understanding and not capable of understanding. So just like this guy here is not capable of driving very well. not good. Pit maneuver. So one of the things that's kept me at bay is my family members, where I'm ashamed of, I'm not even ashamed, I'm scared is a good way to put it, of the consequences of what happens when I get famous and all of a sudden my family members are like, I want to be in the spotlight too. Listen to me, Linda. Like my mom, anybody in my fucking family that just starts running their fucking mouth, where it's just like, you have nothing to do with this topic. Get lost. I'm your mom, and people want to hear what I have to say. And there will be people who want to hear what she has to say, because all the people who are not, I don't know how to explain it, who can't keep up with the important stuff, they'll get distracted by her, and next thing you know, they'll use that as an excuse of, we don't agree with you, Brandon. We're going to be good with it. We're going to be good with the super weapons. You don't need to keep those secret from us. Because see, here's the thing. Let's say that you told society, okay, there's this other technology. We're going to use it in a constructive way, and you're not allowed to use it in a bad way. Do we all have a deal? And then we can use it in a good way? It's naive. People are going to use it in the bad way. Okay? So that's really all there is to it. And people who have flawed brains will go on the attack of, I'm more peaceful than you are, Brandon. Look at your YouTube video. You're more violent than me. No. You don't understand. These are words. This is speaking in words. You guys actually go for blood. Like Justin, a Horsepower Obsessed, a perfect example. He deletes a YouTube channel with thousands of videos, tons and tons of work, without even picking up his call and saying, hey man, I thought we were friends. Why are you making videos calling me out? I know I told you that you could use my footage and you could use General Motors footage anytime, so I'm not going to attack you for copyright. Why is it that you're calling me out right now? But instead he just goes for blood and and that's what we're dealing with. And so these things that you think don't matter, I'm really soaking them up. That it all does matter. And you say, oh, you could have learned this earlier in life. The thing is, guys, I genuinely had my blinders on the whole time. I was very naive, thinking that bad people in high places are the reason why the earth is flawed. I didn't understand that the real truth is the vast majority of the masses are fucking brain dead and therefore can't make the right decision if their life depended on it when you get into complex decision making. And the only way to keep the masses from destroying this fucking planet is you've got to have some sheepdogs who the sheep are going to say are Satan and mean. They're oppressing us. The fuck they are. Yes, correct. Because you guys are dumb fucks. And those of you who think I'm smart, you're not. You're not. You have no fucking clue if you don't know that you're in the Matrix right now and the levels at which the Matrix operates, you're not even remotely smart. So, I want you to imagine you've been sitting on something that can make you a billionaire literally like in a year. And I'm not just saying that. I can show you the viable math on the business plan, and when I finally release it, if and when I do release it. But I'm trying to figure out if I can release just parts of it, not all of it. Let's just say this marketplace that I've invented causes the rate of invention to go parabolic. It makes Kickstarter and GoFundMe look like kindergarten. Okay? Once you see how this actually works. What I have solves the problem where if we the people say, we the Corvette customers say, hey, General Motors, I want a car with mechanical diff, and General Motors doesn't create a car with mechanical diff, my website makes it happen, if you will. It's a money talks kind of situation. And at that point, the elites can no longer control and gatekeep certain technologies. And that puts a person into the quote-unquote Hitler and Antichrist category. See, what you guys don't understand is the Nazi Party, their scientists, they were inventing all kinds of shit. We here in America have invented even better stuff, but it's kept lockboxed. That's the difference between America and the Nazis, is we are receptive to the royal banking and crime families who say there has to be secrets kept. And that is why there is a quote-unquote deep state. Because otherwise you will not have a planet to stand on tomorrow. You will not exist.
But I said my prayers and God is going to protect me. And I wrote my letter to the Tooth Fairy. And Santa Claus is going to bring me what I want because I've been super good this year.
I'm well aware that you think that human beings don't take care of certain things. But I can assure you, even if there is a God, which I'm not saying that there's not, certain things have to be taken care of by human beings right now.
Nuh-uh, they're not allowed to do that because that would mean they're playing God.
Or maybe they just say that you're not allowed to do that because they don't want you to participate. And they let you think that only God is allowed, when it's actually them, the humans. In addition to a website that brings about crazy technological advancement, I firmly believe, and I talked about this in my last channel, I firmly believe that it is possible for us to live extremely longer at the 20-year-old state, where you could reverse an age back to 20 years old. I think it's extremely plausible that we can achieve that. And if any of you guys took the time to do any kind of research on your own, you would probably come to the same conclusion. But you guys don't, for whatever reason. You guys always have more important things to do. See, the average human being, they think, oh, I got to make more money. They're a conditioned monkey who thinks, if I make more money, then I can buy anything I want. Wrong. You can only buy what's on the shelf and what's sold on Amazon. You cannot buy anything that you want. You can only buy what has not been lockboxed. You can only buy what has not been kept secret. And so once you understand that certain things have to be kept secret, the first thing you say is, we deserve the secrets. Don't you agree, Paul? Don't you agree, Sam? What about you, Kim? Yeah, we all agree. We deserve the secrets. We deserve the cure to cancer. We deserve to live a long time. And next thing you know, with those understandings, you're also now biological weaponists. You can manufacture weapons to kill each other in very devious ways. And instead of Hitler having to load everybody up into train cars and cook them, he could have potentially made a virus for a certain bloodline. If you get that good at biology and viruses, okay? But the point is, it's always easier to build the weapon than it is to build the engine. If I ask you to build a gasoline bomb or a gasoline engine, you're like, what, so like a gas can and a match? Or a sparkler? A 4th of July sparkler and a gas can? Or a fuse? Okay, or what else? I gotta build a V8? I'll go with the gas can and the fireworks sparkler, 4th of July sparkler. So the point is, There's lots of points. But that's a little bit of my backstory. And I come from a family who we all had fun mocking each other's stupidity. It was just game on. Whenever you did anything that was stupid, we'd just kind of mock each other. We were brutal, but that's why we're all so smart. It's because we call each other out all the time and we're always thinking. So for those of you who can't handle my channel and you say, oh my God, you're still obnoxious and mean. Yeah, you guys don't get it. You guys don't understand. This is all just like me putting my worst foot forward so that when I'm nice, you appreciate it. Because a lot of you seem to take that for granted. Like Justin at Horsepower Obsessed and Rick Conti, they take it for granted when I'm nice. And they don't understand that if I want to be real mean, all I got to do is get professional and start releasing documentaries and different things and explain things in detail. And then that's what hurts. That's what hurts. When I dedicate the creation of certain websites to these people, that's what hurts. Because they're the problem and I had to create websites to avoid their troublemakingness. That's what hurts. My little words on a little YouTube channel with a couple hundred views, that's nothing. So, anyway, that's enough for now. See ya.